Have you ever wondered how women began to play a role in the Israeli military? Picture, if you will, the year 1948, the dawn of a new nation, Israel. From its inception, the country recognized the value of all its citizens in defending their homeland, including women. This was marked by the establishment of the Women's Corps, affectionately known as Chen. Women stepped into various roles initially in the realms of nursing, signaling, and administrative tasks. These roles, while not frontline combat, were critical in the efficient functioning of the military. They ensured communication lines were maintained, soldiers were cared for, and the administrative machinery ran smoothly. This was the first step in an ongoing journey that saw women gradually take on more diverse and significant roles within the Israeli Defense Forces. From those early years, women in the Israeli military have come a long way. As the decades passed, the roles of women in the Israeli military began to expand. The 1970s and 1980s were a time of significant change and progress for women in the Israel Defense Forces, or IDF. The IDF, known for its inclusivity and diversity, started paving the way for women to play more active roles during these decades. By the late 1970s, the IDF was ready to take a groundbreaking step. In 1979, the first female combat soldiers were introduced, marking a notable shift in the traditionally male-dominated field. These brave women were inducted into the ranks, ready to fight and defend their nation just like their male counterparts. This was a significant milestone not just for the IDF, but for women in militaries worldwide. As we moved into the 1980s, the IDF continued to push boundaries and break down barriers. More and more roles were being opened up to women, from technical positions to leadership roles. The 1980s saw an increase in women serving in various capacities, contributing significantly to the IDF's operational capabilities. However, it was not until the mid-1990s that a truly landmark event occurred. This was the Alice Miller case. Alice Miller, a civilian pilot, applied to the Israeli Air Force Flight School but was rejected because of her gender. Not willing to accept this, she took her case to the Supreme Court. In 1995, the court ruled in her favor, stating that the IDF could not exclude qualified women from any role. This case set a precedent and marked a turning point in the history of the IDF. The Alice Miller case was a turning point, opening the door for women to serve in any capacity within the Israeli military. Women's roles in the IDF had come a long way from the early days, and this landmark case was just the beginning of a series of advancements that would continue to break down barriers and expand opportunities for women in the IDF. With the dawn of the new millennium, women in the Israeli military began to take on more combat roles. This was a significant shift, marking a new era in the history of the Israel Defense Forces, or the IDF. In the year 2000, the IDF formed the Caracal Battalion, the first of its kind. This mixed-gender infantry combat battalion was named after a desert wildcat, and like its namesake, the Caracal Battalion proved to be both fierce and adaptable. Women served alongside men, shouldering the same responsibilities, facing the same risks, and exhibiting the same courage on the battlefield. The role of women in the Israeli military during the Second Lebanon War, and Operation Cast Lead, further highlighted their capabilities in combat roles. Women served in a variety of capacities, from intelligence officers to combat soldiers. They proved their mettle under fire, contributing significantly to the IDF's operational success. But the progress didn't stop there. Fast forward to 2015, the IDF introduced yet another mixed-gender unit, the Lions of Jordan Battalion. The formation of this battalion was a testament to the IDF's commitment to gender integration in combat roles. The Lions of Jordan, much like the Caracal Battalion, showcased the ability of women to serve in active combat, further breaking barriers and shattering stereotypes. These milestones are not just about women serving in combat roles, they are about women leading in them. Women are leading platoons, they are leading operations, and they are leading by example. They are showing that courage, determination, and the will to defend one's country know no gender. In the 21st century, women in the Israeli military are not only serving in combat roles but leading in them. They are an integral part of the IDF, carrying on a legacy of service and sacrifice and paving the way for future generations of women in the military. Today, women in the Israeli military are making their mark in ways that were unimaginable just a few decades ago. Breaking barriers and shattering glass ceilings, these women have risen to positions of leadership, taking on roles that were once deemed suitable only for men. The Israeli military has seen a number of firsts. The first female fighter pilot, for instance, soared into the skies, proving that women too can command the skies. She didn't just fly a plane, she flew a combat jet, and with that, she changed the narrative, making it clear that bravery and skill know no gender. Moving from the skies to the ground, we have the first female infantry combat commander. In a role that demands physical strength and strategic acumen, she led her troops with determination and skill. Her leadership paved the way for more women to step into similar roles, proving that women can be just as effective in ground combat. Then, we have the first female to command a combat battalion. This is a role that requires strategic planning, decision-making under pressure, and the ability to inspire and lead a large group of soldiers. She took on this role with a level of competence and confidence that silenced critics, and set a new standard for women in the military. But these firsts are not without their challenges. The increasing number of women in combat roles has sparked debates and controversies. There are those who question the suitability of women for combat roles, citing physical and emotional differences, but these women, with their courage, tenacity, and skill, continue to prove them wrong. Despite these challenges, the number of women in combat roles continues to rise. They are not just participating, they are excelling, leading, and redefining the very concept of a soldier. From the early days of the Women's Corps to today's combat leaders, women in the Israeli military continue to break barriers and redefine their roles. They are not just soldiers, they are pioneers, leading the way towards a future where gender is no barrier to serving one's country. In this short journey, we've seen the remarkable strides women in the Israeli military have made over the decades. From their initial roles as nurses and radio operators, they've steadily climbed the ranks to occupy positions of responsibility and leadership. The 1970s and 1980s marked a significant shift, with women's roles expanding beyond traditional boundaries to include pilots, intelligence officers, and more. This era set the stage for the groundbreaking changes of the 21st century, where women stepped into combat roles, standing shoulder to shoulder with their male counterparts on the front lines. Today, women in the Israeli military face unique challenges but also enjoy unprecedented opportunities. They serve in a wide array of posts, from combat units to top-tier command positions, proving their mettle in every sphere. Their journey is not just a testament to their individual strength and courage, but also a reflection of the progressive ethos of the Israeli Defense Forces. As we look to the future, we can only speculate on the new boundaries they will break and the new roles they will assume.
Never